GM people. Welcome to DappRadar's Off the Blockchain, a show based around decentralized applications, aka dApps. With me, I have the old effervescent, ever-present, and ever-dependable Ian Kane. And we also have Sara with us today. So thank you very much for coming, Sara, and stepping into the breach in Robert's absence. Like and subscribe if you're a regular listener, and catch us on Spotify, as I say, if you don't want to see our faces. Now, the show, what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be discussing the latest BGA Games report from DappRadar. We'll be talking DeFi, touching on regulations, fairness, and the powers that be sticking their noses into things that often they don't understand. And we'll be touching on fashion. But how does fashion relate to the metaverse? We'll be finding out. Sara, before we get into all the news and the heavy stuff, how are you? How's it going? You look like you're in am I right in saying a camper van?
Yes, hello first of all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so sorry. I'm very excited to participate in this conversation with you guys. And yeah, actually I'm in a camper. I'm near the Black Sea. So
Nice.
my view is of the sea, so I'm very happy. Yeah, and I can't wait to talk with you.
Thank you very much for coming. Ian, how are you?
I'm all right. A bit worse now that I just found out Sarah's by the beach, and that would be nice. But yeah, man, good week. Loads of chats with different projects this week. So I've been doing loads of AMAs. The everlasting AMA train pulled out the station, and I had a lot of them. So yeah, it's good fun chatting with different people, projects, seeing what they're getting up to. So yeah, good week, man. What about you? How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. As you said, we had a really busy week last week with AMAs and stuff. If you want to check them out, go to our YouTube page. We spoke to loads of different people during Dapp Days, which was a week of like blockchain gaming festival thing that we put on. So we spoke to loads of cool people. We looked at their dApps and the games and what they're doing at the moment, how they're taking things forward. Yeah, check them out on YouTube. But as you say, it's busy doing sort of like back-to-back AMAs, and yeah, it was a very busy week last week, but it was really good, and we saw loads of cool things, spoke to loads of cool people. Right, I want to get everyone warmed up before we get into as I say, the heavy stuff. So I'm going to have a game of thumbs up or thumbs down. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to shoot a few topics at you both. And I want you to give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or if you're a bit undecided, feel free to go thumb sideways. I mean, I usually sit on the fence myself, so.
You're always a sideways thumb, Charlie.
There's two sides to every argument, Ian. There's two sides to every argument. All right. So the first one I'm going to chuck at you is, now, yes is thumbs up, no is thumbs down. Should artists be entitled to everlasting royalties for their NFT creations? 1, 2, 3. Oh.
That's right. Like 3 up and a sideways.
Yeah. Why should artists always get money, everlasting money, for the creations that they put out into the world?
Tell the man why.
Yeah, so in my opinion, we talk about NFT creators, so NFT artists. They are pretty, they just started. They are trying to, gain some money. So, we are not talking about big names in the industry. We're talking about like very little. So I think it's very important to maintain the royalties, and especially the amount of royalty is not very, very high. We talk about like a 10%, 50%, and it's not a lot. It's fine. In my point of view, This is how I see it. Okay, yeah.
That is fair enough.
What are we doing here? I'm going to go and start making NFTs. We get 50% royalties on them. That's cool.
Yeah, it depends even on the price you are selling them. So, we're thinking about, I don't know, a very small price. 50% is like pennies, and that, yeah.
Yeah, this is true. Fair enough. It's fair enough argument. Yeah. Ian, you were thumbs up as well. Come on.
I was double thumbs up. It was like a double down on it. I'm double thumbs up on the idea that artists get to make money, because having worked with artists overall, they don't make much money and it's very difficult for them. So I'm all supportive of the idea that they can pick up royalties, but more so because in the art world, I think you can create something in today that might be worth more in the future. And you might not even think about that when you create it. So I think there should be something baked in which allows you to kind of prophesize that it might become famous one day and you would make money from it, rather than kind of crying at home, thinking I drew that picture and I'm not making any money. So for that reason,
that's probably the best argument I've heard, actually. I think that's fair enough because you're right. If
you're going to change it,
well, I'm kind of going more towards the up, but I think the thing is in the sort of idea of radical ownership that decentralized applications are supposed to convey on people. I think once you've let your NFT creation out into the world, then it's not owned by you anymore. So there is the argument that maybe the person who owns the NFT, which is all about ownership, should then get all the proceeds from selling it. But at the same time, you're right. Because CryptoPunks don't do royalty fees, do they? So the people who maybe make CryptoPunks, they weren't selling them for $100,000, $200,000 a pop when they first went on sale. But now the people who didn't create them, they just happen to have them. They're the ones making the money. So maybe that's a good point that you don't know it's going to be a huge project when you start it, but should you be profiting from it when it does become a huge project?
It's the only thing I can think of that's like, because and maybe the black and whiteness of it is a bit raw because we're talking about percentages and we could talk about sliding scales. If something becomes uber valuable, perhaps the percentage comes down. It's dynamic would be the best way to do it. And at the moment, I think we're just kind of starting this idea, aren't we? So dynamic pricing, perhaps.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think there's arguments on both sides. Just I saw this topic come up on Twitter recently in the last week about people saying should they or shouldn't they, and people seem to sort of tie their colours to the flag or whatever the phrase is quite quickly as saying yes or no. But it's probably there are pros and cons to both. Right, let's move on. I want you to give me your thumbs up or thumbs down on the unofficial Doge blockchain. Now, it's this based on the Dogecoin. What do you think of this unofficial Doge blockchain?
Unofficial. Ooh. I'm a fan. Yeah. I'm a thumbs up because I think it'll generate more dApps on the Doge chain is EVM compatible and it's built on Polygon. So it's actually not built on Doge at all. So it's not really a layer 2 at all. But I think that's quite cool because a lot of dApps can hop over and launch on this new chain. A lot of investors out there are speculative and they're driven by the idea of new coins. And moreover, I'm kind of interested in how it goes because as you know, I talk about Pulse Chain, which is kind of a similar situation. I'm quite interested to see how this goes. So I'm thumbs up, like it's interesting, basically. Let's see.
Yeah, Sarah?
Yeah, I think I will go with Ian too. I mean, thumbs up. Just because yeah, exactly. I know. I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking about when you first heard about crypto, you heard about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then you heard about meme coins. So you heard about Doge.
Doge was the first one I ever bought.
Was it?
See?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So finally, they related the image of Doge coin to a new blockchain. So I think this is very interesting, especially I think Shiba is starting to do something new. They just announced that they want to make their own stable coin. So now it's very nice to see how the meme projects that everyone was like, it's pure speculation. They start, to start building something. So it's interesting. I cannot wait to see how it will evolve. We will see.
Cool. Right, 2 thumbs up. I'm going to also have my thumb up just for a laugh.
You just want to see how it goes.
I mean, what harm could it do really? These things started as a joke. Their joke's carrying on obviously to a certain extent. Let's see how far they can take it, but I guess
just to touch on the harmful nature of it, just be wary to the listeners that it's a chain where people are able to launch tokens and projects quite freely and easily. So watch yourselves, everything isn't a gold mine. Be careful. But for sure, go check it out. But just tread carefully would be my advice,
DYOR.
Exactly.
Right. Always. Right, now, final one. Google has invested a whopping $1.5 billion into blockchain companies since September 2021, alongside Morgan Stanley, Samsung, and Goldman Sachs, according to a report from Block Data. Are we thumbs up or thumbs down on this one?
I'm double down.
I'm thumb up on that one because I don't mind more people getting involved. Ian, why are you thumbs down?
I'm always thumbs down.
You're a hater.
I'm a hater. I'm a hipster hater. Basically, I believe Google has enough monopoly power over our life already. I don't really want to see them gaining more power over a whole new frontier of technology. The other company mentioned in that report was BlackRock, who basically run the world.
No. It was Block Data as data front. It's Morgan Stanley, Samsung, and Goldman Sachs. But BlackRock have just opened up a fund for Bitcoin or something like that.
Oh, okay. But basically,
so
the point is,
involved.
I'm kind of against the idea. I'd like to see a new wave of Web3 companies ran through DAOs, taking over the traditional system. I think that those boys have they've had plenty of time. They've done quite well, but.
Okay, so from one revolutionary, Sarah, what do you think? Why do you think thumbs up for you?
I agree with you, Charlie. So we want blockchain to have a major adoption, and when you put blockchain and Google and a lot of money in the same phrase, people understand that and they think like, oh, that could be a really important and nice thing.
Yeah.
So this is why thumbs up.
Yeah, they'll bring trust into the area, which I think there's still a lack of that from people who don't understand what this whole thing is. Yeah. But at the same time, maybe they'll just take over from the people who started the whole thing. I don't know. Again, we'll see. Yeah, I don't want to be too cynical, because if you go down that road of being too cynical, you can't get out of bed.
Yeah, but sorry for interrupting you, Charlie, but you said something. The people who like invented, or let's say started, but let's don't forget that blockchain and Web3 was starting anonymously, so we never put a face to a name. And I think this is something that is shifting right now, because more and more projects they have teams, they have faces behind the companies, and I think this is a very nice step to even Google. So this is another reason probably why a big thumbs up.
So you're saying because Google's fully doxed, they can get involved?
Not really, but I think, it's important.
I agree. I agree with you.
I get it. Okay. You guys are putting a lot of faith in Google here and presuming that they're such a nice company and that they're all looking out for you and they love you.
No, I think we put a lot of faith in the name and in the news.
Sure.
Only Agreed. That. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, look at Meta and what power it had last year when they started talking about metaverses and everyone saw the cartoon version of Zuckerberg. It pumped hard. So if it has a similar effect, not the pump, but if it brings people into the space, great. Yeah, of course. From that side, very cool. But yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We will see.
Yeah, we will see. And again, I'm sure they'll try and make their mark and take some money from it. All right. Firstly, we want to move on to, we want to discuss the recent DappRadar BGA Blockchain report. Blockchain Games Report. That was a mouthful. Sarah.
What game change?
Yeah.
Sarah, talk us through the report.
Yeah, so actually it was my second report, if I'm not wrong. I'm not a very big fan of blockchain games, so I had like 1 week to get familiar with every big player when it comes to blockchain games, to the data, and I was very, very surprised and stunned about what I found. I love DeFi, so I know very well DeFi, everything about it. And when I look at the data, and I just found out that 60% of the usage from the whole industry is into blockchain games, and I was like, whoa. And DeFi it's a really small part of blockchain, and probably people don't hear this, but blockchain games currently are defying this bear market. We talk about investment. In July month, it was like 300 million of investment that got into companies that deal with blockchain, and they are funding venture capitalists are funding this. So I think this is another important statistic and data that we have to look in the future. And another important news that probably everyone knows about, the Minecraft, the ban NFTs. It was very popular and it happened in July. I know, it seems that it happened like 3-4 months ago, but it happened in July.
It's like a week ago.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, how blockchain is a very fast pacing. Everything is fast. It seems like a very old news, but it was actually very important news because we observe, I don't know how to call it, like a resistance from the traditional gaming companies and many companies, even Steam. So at some point the CEO of Steam was like, hey, yeah, we want to use NFTs, but yeah, we don't think, because the major problem is every company in the past, big company of gaming, that tried to say, hey, let's use NFTs and blockchain, the players of it, they were against it. So I think this is all where education starts. We have to, I mean, educate people like, hey, NFTs and blockchain are not speculation, and we see the data, and the data are here every day. I mean, every day 1 million wallets, unique active wallets, are creating, sorry, are being created into the blockchain games part of the blockchain. So I think this is something very, very big. When it comes to games, actually July was a very, I mean, not important month, but we live in a bear market right now, and we observe how Alien Worlds, Splinterlands, they've managed to grow their baser player, and we have something very important that happened on the Flow blockchain. We have Solitary Blitz, and it gained a lot of base players, and it's actually very interesting because they are trying to bring the old games. Solitaire was the game that my mom played, and
And me,
it's
I play solitaire.
okay, sorry, and Charlie and Jan. Okay, yeah, so I think, yeah, I've never played that, so yeah,
What?
I think, yeah, generations, yeah, different generation. Yeah, but actually, about the traditional games, Zebedee, which is a very important company, they just managed to get a lot of money. I think $35 million in funding to bring back the Sudoku, Solitaire, and Crossword, I think, or Missing Words, another game that was very popular back in the times, and now it will be play to earn in Bitcoin. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Sarah, can I just
this
jump
is,
in there just quickly?
yeah,
I just
sure.
wanted to. It's interesting that July was such a good month for blockchain gaming, and that it's the current defying sector of the bear market, because obviously a lot of things have gone down, but we've seen that blockchain gaming has gone up. But I think it's still very much in, this is maybe blockchain gaming's year at the moment. But I think that for the future, and I don't know, Sarah, if you've looked into this at all, but once they've gone past their initial phase of being the new kid on the block and being all exciting for people, has there been any talk, or have you seen anything about how they're going to grow for a future where they need to make a sustainable economy and make real games that aren't just based on farming radishes or playing like the small games that you can get a little bit of money from? But have you done much research into big games that are building for a bigger future? So yeah, I met Michael Rubinelli, from the head of Wax Studios, last week, and I had a chat with him. And Ian, I know you spoke to a couple of people from different games companies as well last week. And he was all about making games that are games first with NFTs on the side. But he also touched on that thing that you were speaking about, Sarah, of why gamers are sort of resistant to NFTs, but also games companies are. And I do wonder if people like EA Sports or Activision, if they don't get involved now, and I don't know what you two think about this, but if they don't get involved in NFTs and Web3 now, and it does take over, they're going to kind of be stuck in the mud, really, because they'll be too late to the party. So I just think that, I think that it's doing really well at the moment, blockchain games, but they've got a massive amount of room to grow to make it a real competitor for traditional gaming. Because in terms of users, obviously, blockchain gaming is much, much lower, isn't it?
Yeah, you're talking billions in traditional gaming and millions. Yeah. It's a really tricky subject, because it's like, how do you do it? Do you get people into your games on a hyper casual level, like they did with mobile gaming at the beginning? Imagine Web3 is the device that mobile games were. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? and you kind of need that flagship something to take people's interest on the blockchain. Like, it's a really difficult question. And in terms of the other companies, like I think it was Ubisoft who got slammed on Ghost Recon NFTs, right? So, but I wonder whether they want it. If I ran a computer games company that sold discs and downloads for $50, and somebody came along and said, hey, you could empower your customers to spend less money and be able to take assets away from you, I'd be like, well, that doesn't sound very good for me and my bank balance. So from a purely financial perspective, I can understand why game companies are probably a little bit confused about which way to go. Their model is being dismantled. Can they bring their model and adapt it? I don't think so. Like, and
I had this chat with, as I say, speaking to Michael last week, he was saying that, well, I suggested that things like skins, you know how much they make from skins in Fortnite?
Yeah.
Imagine if they were NFTs. Imagine if they got 5% per resale.
Exactly. Like, it's a no-brainer, right?
Tens of millions a month. And that's, there's obviously loads of money in here at the moment, but that could go, instead of 300 million, it could be going to 3 billion a month, or.
Exactly.
It's got a huge way to go, a long way to go, but it is doing really well at the moment, as you say.
But and I think this year we're seeing a shift. So I think soon we won't talk about blockchain games, we talk about GameFi games. So we know finance and gaming, blockchain gaming, come together. And I just read something very interesting. When you start to make a play to earn game or anything that has to earn in the title or anything, you have to start first with a very good token economics. And I think this is the shift that we are seeing right now. And I know, for example, for a good game, it takes like 3-4 years to build, right? And I think and I think that's why right now the games are pretty basic, and they are just launching it because they want to become like big names and have investments, and then they can start building. And this is what major companies in blockchain names are doing. They are, even if we are in the bear market, there are still many companies that are still hiring developers. They are still focusing on building. They are not stopping right now, and this is, I think, this is the most important part. It will grow.
I think you're right about the. It takes 2 or 3 or 4 years to build a big proper game. Stuff like GTA or anything like that, or
exactly.
But I also think it takes hundreds of millions of dollars as well, and they haven't quite got that at the moment. So they have to make smaller games to make money, build up their reserves, and then they can build and build and build.
Exactly. But I'm thinking about, we are talking about a very fast. It's very fast what is happening related to blockchain, to Web3. So I think this, I don't know, probably next year or who knows, I think we will see things move much faster. And even about the money, we just talk about Google putting a lot of money into blockchain investments. At some point, think about a major company that will back up a blockchain game company. They will have the funds, they will have the people, and they will build. But the most important thing in my part is the finance. So they really have to have a good token economics. Everything starts from there, in my point of view, when it comes to blockchain games.
And they're the games that you see with length as well. Like, sorry, Charlie, the ones that have been around the longest are the ones with the most solid tokenomics. Splinterlands, the other ones that are sitting at the top of the pile, they're the ones who are, and when you speak to them, it's a game that they're playing of constantly moving levers to try to align the tokenomics correctly with the customers. And it's not easy, and it's not quick either. And it's not, if you pull the wrong lever, you can trapdoor everybody. It's not an easy thing to do by any stretch of the imagination. And then, just because you spoke about Flow, I think one interesting thing is on Flow, those games, all right, they're not super complex. Solitaire is not a complicated game. But if you nail the UX of it, it's a very addictive game. And if you nail the UX of other games, like I think it's Joyride Games that they've partnered with, they've got a game called 8-Ball Pool, which I am addicted to on my phone. Like, already I'm addicted to this. Like, I love that game. That's a great time passer on an aeroplane. It's 2-player, whatever. And it's Peter, and you can play with people and whatever. So I just think, like with mobile games, we get people in, we give them something they actually want to play. I think that's the killer thing right now. Like, I don't think people gravitate to games to play games. I think people gravitate to games, blockchain games, to make money. And when that starts to change, then we can see more serious games.
Yeah.
And also, we don't know. Like, there could be people building games for the last 4 years, and they just never sell anything. And they might come out at Christmas and be like, "Hey, like we've been doing this for the last God knows how long." But it's all like stepping stones, as I see it. In the like DeFi for me was just a bit of a joke in terms of 2020, but it led to much better things. Like it was an evolutionary step. I think Dapp games are the same. We need to figure what, if you think about what they're really giving us, they're giving us innovation in player-to-player communication, faster transactions, settlement layers being figured out that work best for gaming.
Asset
the idea
ownership
that,
as well.
Exactly, like these basic things are figuring out more complex issues that are very important for us to move forward. So I wouldn't I try not to diss them too much, but I've definitely been guilty of saying they're not games. But I think that's where it comes, the nuance. We call them games, but most of them are not really games.
Yeah, not yet. But
not yet.
Sarah, just going back to what your point, Sarah, about getting the finances right first, I think that is really important. But I actually would disagree and say that I think get the game right first, and then people will play it regardless of if they're making money or not. Because if they can play an amazing game, which people do, they pay to play now, don't they? So if you can play this amazing game and then on the side you might make some money, that's also a bit of a bonus. But they come for the game first, and then even if the money, they're not making loads of money, they still want to play the game. Because going back to the Wax Studios team, they've actually banned the term play to earn in the studio, because they're not about, they're about play and with blockchain technology on the side. But I do think it's a very exciting time to go on, Sarah. Sorry.
Yep, sorry. We're talking about play to earn or something. I think this is the hype right now. So yeah, definitely in the future will be a shift. We want to talk about play to earn, but I mean, I see the shift in application that move to earn, that drive to earn. So everything right now, the hype right now is anything related to earn, because people, when you think, this is why they get into NFT, this is why they get into Web3, they not get here for the technology. They get here to earn. So and when it comes to games, even the traditional gaming companies, I don't know if you remember the game 2048. It was very, very addictive, and it was so basic, and people, everyone around me was playing it. So you just have to have that idea, and at some point if you can make some money. But at some point, I don't think it's about the money, it's about the community. Just think that you can play a game on a blockchain, let's say on an Ethereum blockchain, and you have a asset, you have a skin, you have anything, and then you can shift it to another game that it's on Ethereum. It's a different game. I don't know, you talk about, swords, and then you came with a bunny, or something funny. I think this is very, very interesting. And the community. And, we talk about the metaverse and the landing. So just think about, you are playing a game, and at some point you want to build the house, or no matter what, you have a piece of land for that falling. I mean, it's incredible to think about this. And
the utility in the future is sort of endless, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially let's think about the VR technology, so augmented reality. At some point, probably we could play games in augmented reality, and we can even make some money, or NFTs or anything. And wow, the future sounds so great. I cannot wait. And I'm not a gamer.
What a worrying thought for someone who still plays traditional solitaire. Right, I'm going to move us on quickly. I'm going to move us on from an area of the industry that is doing very well and we're all very happy about, to an area of the industry that has found the first half of 2022 slightly difficult. It's the area of DeFi, and in particular, the two incidents we just had with Tornado Cash and Akala. So let me give you a quick overview of Akala. They had a liquidity pool for their AUSD stablecoin token that was worth roughly $1. It was what's called a soft peg stablecoin. So it's not meant to be one-to-one exactly, but it's meant to be within a few cents of a dollar. And they had a liquidity pool with, I think it was some sort of Bitcoin, not the actual Bitcoin, but some sort of derivative of that. And smart contracts for the liquidity pool, some hacker found a vulnerability and ended up minting 1.28 billion USD tokens. Immediately, because they flooded the market with these tokens, the price of the stablecoin went from, I think it was at the time $1.03 down to $0.0009. So, it lost over 99% of its value. People were very worried. But then what eventually happened is Akala froze the tokens, froze the liquidity pools, and then they burnt all those tokens. And then the price last time I saw was back up at 94 cents. So they handled that really well. But it's another. So yeah, we see what's happened with stable coins in other areas, which we'll get onto in a bit. But that was a story that ended up okay, but another sign that when you've got these things running on blockchains, if someone finds a security issue or a problem with how things are written or designed, then things can happen badly quite quickly. Like the idea of you think a stable coin is good because you can just have one for one with $1, and then it goes down to 0.009 dollars worth of dollar, then you've lost a lot of money. So that was the Akala thing. But then just a week before, there was the Tornado Cash crisis. We're going to call it a crisis. Basically, depending on how you look at this thing philosophically, it's either a money laundering system or it's another tool that people in Web3 can use for privacy. Ian, which side of the, I'm not going to call it argument, which side of the philosophical debate do you sit on? Is it a tool for good or is it a tool for bad?
It's a tool that's being used by people who have a capacity for good and bad. So the tool is the tool, like a hammer.
Very diplomatic of you.
I know, right. You wanted me to go the other way, didn't you? But I'm with.
I agree with you. I agree.
I'm with Vitalik. Like he came out and said, sometimes you need to move money anonymously because you would get in trouble for putting it in a certain place. Like he was talking about charitable giving. So I'm with him. Like sometimes the need for that is relevant, especially for high net worth individuals who are moving large amounts of cash around. Why do they want everybody to know their business? It's not right. So, like I said,
also privacy isn't illegal, is it? You can be. There's nothing, as long as you're not doing anything illegal. Privacy, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. No. Obviously, the powers that be don't like the idea of not knowing where people's money is.
If you came down from space and you looked at the situation and you were like, right, someone explained to you what Tornado Cash does, you'd probably think straight away as the alien, well, there's a lot of problems there, and I can see how that will be used for negativity, basically, and bad actors. So I don't know. It's a tricky one, man. Like, but as I say, it's a tool, and humans are the problem, not the tools. So that is what I would say.
So let me just quickly take you on to the next part of the story. So what happened is the person who developed the Tornado Cash tool was arrested by Dutch police in Holland, sort of not on a tip, but on the direction, I think, of US federal agents who said, we think that this tool is being used for nefarious purposes. Therefore, the person is going to be, we should arrest this person who just created something, didn't say how people should use it, just wrote some software. Now, I want to juxtapose that with 3 stories that sit next to this specific episode, and yet sort of highlight where the hypocrisy might lie in certain areas of DeFi. So the leader of Terra Luna, is it Do Kwon?
Yeah.
He lost people $40 billion. So because of the Terra Luna crisis, people lost $40 billion worth of money. He still lives in Singapore, and he just did an interview. I think it was potentially with Forbes, but yeah, you can find it online. Google Do Kwon interview. He's doing interviews for people at the moment. He's living free. The Celsius network owes users $4.7 billion. The founder is roaming the streets of New York City free. 3 Arrows Capital apparently owes a minimum of $665 million to people. The co-founder, CEO, and CIO is out and about living their best life. As I say, the developer of Tornado Cash wrote code to provide privacy. He's been arrested by Dutch police. Sarah, I'm going to put this question to you. Is that fair? Yes or no?
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
No, definitely no. Especially that we see every day in our banking system the money laundering, and oh my god, why anyone is not talking about it? They are not doing anything. And right now, someone write a code. He's a genius. I mean, a genius when it comes to coding, and he's being sent to jail only because of that.
Oh, he's been
I mean,
arrested. He's been arrested, but
yeah, it's being arrested, but yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like, I don't know. It feels very, very wrong. It's something that, yeah, I don't know. I'm speechless. I have to be honest. I'm speechless when I read about it.
I mean, certainly our community
sorry.
certainly our community thinks it's unfair because we are all about sort of innocent until proven guilty. Just because you want to be private doesn't mean that you're necessarily doing anything bad. If you are caught doing something illegal, fair enough. But I think this kind of comes in with the whole, there's people now want regulations. Look what happened at Terra Luna. People lost a lot of money because something was completely unregulated. It looked like a giant Ponzi scheme rug pull, whether it was or not, it depends who you are. But this is on the back of people needing more regulation now. So they closed down Tornado Cash, but then to arrest the guy who just made it, it does seem.
I mean, bringing him in to ask him some questions and whatever, but the idea that you can arrest this guy that made a tool, but yet these dudes are walking around free as anything is mental, really, isn't it? Like the idea that that's mental. But I think there's a couple of things that are quite interesting here. I think a lot of attention came on Tornado Cash because of the Lazarus hacker group and North Korea. And I think that's a hot topic right now. And the US government is desperate to look like it's actually doing something, as their president basically looks like.
Just quickly talk us through, is that the Ronin hack you're talking about?
Well, they were apparently responsible for the Ronin hack. They take responsibility for a lot of hacks. And the Lazarus group is basically responsible for billions of dollars. And they're saying that they're using Tornado Cash. So there could be a tentative link there, but the US government wants to. The other thing that makes me think is, as Sarah rightly said, that's a very intelligent man who's just been arrested, or woman, whoever that person is. Very intelligent person with a very specific set of skills. Perhaps the US government just want to understand how Tornado Cash works because they're interested in it and they want to use it, or they want to develop something similar. So never discount the idea that they're just acquiring skill sets as well,
The old cynic.
I think another interesting, sorry for interrupting, Charlie. I think another interesting point is how, it's something like how every account that is related to Tornado Cash, it's going to be closed or, categorized as illegal. And I don't know if you heard the news about the one that sent 0.1 Ethereum to every meeting person. And this is something like even big companies, they are forced to freeze their clients' assets when it comes even to the company I just read about. They've lost, I think, 1.6 something billions that were transferred to USDT, to the Tether company, when it comes to stablecoin. And this is something I'm writing about. My next report we're going to be on stable coins. And so right now I'm looking into stable coins. I'm studying them. It's it's blowing my mind. I have to be sorry, I have to be honest. And especially with Tornado Cash and everything.
It's true. You know what really annoys me and blows my mind about all this, and Sarah, you said it, and there was a tweet as well that I saw, and that's where the idea comes from. There was a guy on Twitter that said, I don't use Tornado Cash to launder money. I just use Deutsche Bank like everybody else. There's the point. For me, that's the point. And it's what annoys me the most about all of this. You got things like Panama Papers. There's no crypto in there.
No.
Start at the beginning of the problem. Don't jump over a problem that is so big to handle that then you just go and deal with a new one, because it isn't going to help us. Deal with those criminals first, then come and deal with us a lot later, because you haven't figured that out yet. So arguably, they're all involved.
Ian, I'm not being sort of like tinfoil hat here and Mr. Conspiracy Theory, but I think it's a fact that people who work in government and work in these banks and work in policy and regulation and work across all those different sorts of areas, they all go from one industry to the other one. So they're all sort of friends, and they all work together, and they all know what the loopholes are and what they can sort of get away with in terms of dodging taxes or putting money here and taking it out there. So I guess just what they've done is Tornado Cash is the people who made the person who made the software isn't friends with government officials or high-ranking police people or
That's
the people
it, right?
who make the laws in America. So they're obviously going to be like, right, you're not one of our friends. We'll come and get you.
That's it.
But
that's
yeah,
a strong
the
point.
idea that Swiss banking cartels and those big banks that you get with so many secrets in them, they're not going to get closed down anytime soon.
No, and they're not even they're not even under any investigation, which is. But like you said, Charlie, that's a really strong point. I've always been as much as we can be all like, what's the word? Theoretical about blockchain. Yeah, and idealistic about what DeFi can do for the world. Let's not be naive. And the people that are running companies like Celsius, 3 Arrows, Tornado Cash, maybe not Tornado Cash, Akala, other companies, these people were involved in finance way before blockchain, I think, many of them. You need knowledge to do this, right? So we're not getting away from that system.
Knowledge,
yeah, we're not moving away from the traditional system. We're just evolving it. And maybe that's why this criminality has come along for the ride, because it's the old guard who are bringing us this new technology. So,
the thing is now we can just see all the criminality because it's all transparent on the blockchain.
Exactly. But
right, from that rather sobering idea that the world is against us and we can never win, we'll go on to something slightly more lighthearted, which is the adoption of high-end luxury brands within Web3. Sarah, do you want to take us through what we want to talk about here and what you see is happening in that space?
Yeah, sure. So, like recently, the new collection from Tiffany & Co. was just launched, NFT. It's the collection, in relation with CryptoPunks. So you will receive for the first time. I mean, I don't know if for the first time, but it's very interesting to see that NFTs are turned into wearable fashions and jewelry and expensive one. Yeah, because the mint cost was 30 Ethereum, like $5,000, which is like a lot, and it was available only for the CryptoPunk holders. So I think it's something exclusive. And this is what we are seeing right now. In the past, I think 2 years or 1 year and a half, we see how luxury brands are turning to NFT because NFTs and luxury is exclusive and is scarce. So we talk about scarcity. NFTs, for example, over all of the collection, there are only 10 NFTs and there are only 10 Hermes bag, let's say. And the big problem when it comes to luxury, 3.3% of the world trade is in counterfeit, and is like 500 billions. I don't know the numbers. I mean, it's very
what's
big.
the number on that? That must be crazy.
3.3%
of the world's luxury items
of the world
trade, right?
Yeah. This is the latest data. So yeah, it's amazing. So once they start building their presence on NFT, we can deal about authenticity. We can talk about the authenticity. So every piece of luxury, it's authentic because it's connected to an NFT. And this is something very important. Another shift that I see is how the luxury brands are trying to target the younger audience. So when you think about like luxury, honestly, I think a person that probably, I don't know, it's much older than me. But right now, how NFT are in very hype with the millennials. Everyone is talking about millennials and Gen Z, and right now everyone, I mean, you could own a piece of Gucci and NFT Gucci for about, I don't know, it's $50 or something like that, the very small collections. And now it's exclusivity. So why I want to get into this luxury brand. So I think this is very, very another interesting point.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a couple of questions on the back of that then. Ian, I'm going to chuck the first one at you. Would you buy a Gucci scarf in the Sandbox?
No.
Or anywhere they're on sale? Would you buy some high-end luxury clothing that you can wear digitally?
I'm not that guy, so I'll answer it like as if I'm not myself. I wouldn't,
because I don't buy them anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't buy them anyway, and I'm not materialistic in that way. I have brands that I like, but they're not Gucci, and I don't. No, for me, I wouldn't. I'm not that guy. Like I'm not going to do that. No.
All right, Sarah, second question I've got, and I'm going to chuck this one at you, is what is the point of high-end luxury brands having their items in the metaverse? Why have a digital trilby from, I don't know, Yves Saint Laurent that you can wear, or Prada? I know the Prada had a big range, didn't they? They had a fashion show.
Yeah,
what is the point of those in digital form? Go.
I think okay. Okay, so first of all, I think it's very interesting. For the first time, we see that the luxury brands are keeping pace with what's happening right now, because they usually are very, I mean, they really keep their own timing, and they are not renewing the technologies behind the clothes. I don't know if you understand my point, kind of. I mean, they are very old style. So we think about House of Gucci, House of everything. We think about, I mean, it's a very, very old tradition. And right now, for the first time, we see this big industry that is approaching the Web3 space. So I think this is major, because more money is coming to it, more people will know about it. And right now, we talk about a lot of monies and a lot of audience. So, at some point, who can afford Gucci, or who can afford Louis Vuitton or other luxury brands? Only rich people. And there are, I like to think that the wealth is changing, is shifting. So due to blockchain, due to crypto, more and more people are getting rich, and they can have like a lot more money and can intro this word. So to answer your question, I think the first one is the audience, and they can enlarge more and more people and the technology, so they can be a first to this shift, to the Web3 shift.
Cool. Right, I've got an opinion as well on why I think luxury brands are maybe worthwhile in the digital world. And it's because they are, even in the real world, they're all about status, aren't they? No one actually needs a £2,000 Burberry jacket. They are nice, to be fair, but you don't actually need one. They are, yeah, it's all there. The only thing you really care about when you've got a Burberry coat is showing people the lining. Exactly. So you have to keep opening it up to show people that you're wearing a Burberry coat. So luxury brands have always been all about status. That shows that you're a successful, rich, powerful person. Status also exists in the metaverse. So if people can see that you are wearing, even if they're digital, even if they can see you're wearing a $500 pair of Gucci sunglasses, even if they are on the face of your avatar, people see, oh, that person's got some money. Therefore, they are rich, they are powerful, they're someone I should be involved with. So I'd say that, although I personally do think it's pointless, but that's just me, they are not themselves pointless, because they're just as pointless as luxury brand clothing is in the real world, which, you obviously can't wear them, you can't hold them, but they are yours, and they do show that you are a successful person, or that you've chucked away your life savings on a digital pair of sunglasses. Either one of those.
Good point.
I think your story for interpreter, I think this is how, I mean, even from an NFT point of view, like, let's think about a CryptoPunk. So if I'm a holder of CryptoPunk and I can say to the world, I have a CryptoPunk, it's the status behind the and this is why, this is why we see a similarity between NFTs and high luxury brands. Because right now, owning a one blue chip, you are rich. I want to be friends with you.
Yeah, I mean, sell it and take the money.
Yeah, I mean, in a matter of speaking,
Now we know what Sarah's all about, Charlie. Watch out for this one.
Yeah.
It's a proper interesting topic, though, isn't it? Like, I couldn't agree. Like, Sarah, what you're saying about people working in blockchain and Web3 and becoming more empowered with money, and then being able to go out and flex. I really agree with you there on that point. One of my friends told me a story yesterday. He's driving along the motorway, saw a brand new Porsche Cayenne on a 2022 plate. The number plate was Web3. So you had a custom number plate, Web3. So this money is being made, and this is happening out there. And arguably, I know, yeah. Was it you, Charlie? And but the flex, I think, is ultimately important here. That's what people are doing, right? Like you said, it's flexing your status in the metaverse and flexing your status in the real world, and arguably they're going to soon collide, and you might need more flex in the metaverse. Like I said, Charlie, I told you when I went to the Decentraland festival, and I also just said I'm not a materialistic guy, but in that festival I was standing there and the dude in front of me had his Bored Ape Yacht Club hoodie on. Nice. I was a bit jealous. Yeah, I was like, that looks cool, that's nice. And I didn't talk to him, I don't know them, but I do know them because I know that you're a high net worth individual almost because you've got this Bored Ape. I know that you're flexing the retract trainers. It's just like the real world, right? But it's all,
but even more so, I guess, because you can't really get by on your personality so much because you don't talk to people like you do in the real world. So it's like, right, I can't have a proper chat with you and show you what sort of person I am, but I do have these lovely artifact trainers, that lovely Bored Ape hoodie, and my avatar is a CryptoPunk. So, you know, I'm wearing at least $300,000 worth of clothes.
That's it, right?
So, yeah. It's like,
look at me, I mean, look how good I am, kind of thing. Like,
I mean, is that the sort of future we want, where you're basically just judged by the clothes you wear and the?
Let's be real, man. We're in that future anyway. We're there already, man. Like, arguably, again, like people project digitally already. They project onto Instagram. They project fakeness onto Facebook. We're really good at projecting falseness into the world. This is just an extension of that. It just plays into human nature. Yeah, it's just another tool for us silly humans, basically, and our needs and wants.
What do you think, Sarah? Would you agree?
Totally agree. Totally. And it was something interesting because, like, when I was talking about Prada or stuff like that, you were like, this is to Charlie, you were like, yeah, but why to wear that? I mean, yeah, but when Ian said he had the hoodie with, I don't remember the, exactly, you were like, oh, nice. So you can see how you can see because you are more interested in the value of it, the value of the hoodie, and a person knows the value of a Hermes bag. So this is interesting. So this is why
sorry. The one thing that came to mind while we were talking about all of this and you guys were talking was that people go to those physical shops to flex hard. Like, they buy, and Sarah, again, what you said about the little items, there's always a key ring in the Gucci shop for 30 quid, and they'll still give you the giant bag and fill it with plastic so you can look like a bad man. But what are people going to do when they can't go to these shops anymore? If they all shut down, they're going to flex in the metaverse. Charlie, go on.
I reckon that you'll probably have to show that you have at least a certain amount of ETH or cryptocurrency in your wallet to go into a digital shop and then look around in there, maybe.
Or so you put your wallet address in. Oh, that's dirty.
Yeah.
That is.
If there's going to be a situation where people actually spend real time, like, I don't know if this is ever going to happen, but if there's a situation where you spend 8 hours a day walking around the metaverse, I don't know how that would look, but walking around the streets of the sandbox, and you go past the Gucci store and you're like, can I come in there? Like, how much money have you got? And that's like a different version of going into a store and showing, because if you're seen maybe coming out, but then again, would people follow you? Like, these are little digital avatars, they're not people. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
But you and I probably think of it. And Sarah, I'm going to ask you. I think Charlie and I are both kind of similar in that we don't see this metaverse as somewhere we potentially want to hang out, maybe. I don't know, Charlie, is that right? I'm not that guy. I'm not going.
I'm intrigued, but I'm not in. Yeah, I'm just not. Yeah,
we're intrigued, but at the same time, it's like trying to figure out why do I speak to these people in calls all the time, and the way they talk about the metaverse and the way they talk about how they want to flex is the same way I talk about the real world. So for some people, they're 100% on board. But yeah, Sarah, how do you feel about it? Think about it. What's your view on it?
I think, first of all, the COVID pandemic happened. So I think this is something that we should start before talking about. All our personal relations and anything stopped. And we had to stay home for the past 2 years and a half. We were scared of each other, and now the metaverse. So you can go there, you can pretend. So I think this is something you can pretend to be anyone you want. You can pretend to be a girl, but even if you're a boy, you can pretend to have money or not. So yeah, I think this is something very interesting, and this is why people are are into this, because you can pretend to be anything you want. You can go out from your probably not so good life, if you have one, or even if you have a good life, you can escape there. You can become anything you want. You know how parents tell you when you're little, yeah, and you can be anything you want when you grow up. Just have to do.
I didn't say that. They were like, "Shut up, get back inside."
Okay, my mom did. So right now you can do that in the metaverse, because if right now I'm waking up and I want to go on Sandbox or anything, I can become whoever I want. And I was thinking about, I'm connecting to other stuff, and about pretending. You were talking about money, but how I said that the counterfeit market, it's 3.3% of the world trade. You can imagine how many people are faking the wealth status. And I just heard, I just read the news from Monaco. So actually Monaco, I don't know how to name in English. You cannot. Okay, perfect. You cannot stand things outside. I mean, clothes, if they are not branded, because then it's show. And I was like, man, but it's a fake one. What do you do if it's a fake one? Yeah. So how this is how people pretend. So people already are pretending in real life. It'll be interesting if the counterfeit people and companies will allow this shift, because man, 3.3% of the world trade, it's huge. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it will be nice to see the resistance behind this. Yeah, how they will try to counterfeit. I mean, it probably, they will try to focus on counterfeit NFTs. Right now, I think we cannot even think about a counterfeit NFT. But I think in 10 years from now, it's like a Van Gogh. Yeah, exactly. It's like a Van Gogh. Right now, I know it's very, very difficult to counterfeit it, but it's possible. So yeah, I think with NFTs.
Also, if someone just makes a fake NFT, if you're wearing it around the metaverse, people aren't going to be like, "Oh, are those glasses real?" Because you can see they're just computer code. They're not going to see the code behind it. They're just going to see the digital sort of representation of that code.
Yeah,
interesting.
And imagine that. Sorry for interrupting. And imagine that a normal user. So probably, I don't know, someone like me, or I don't know, and I just want to buy something. I'm not very careful about what I'm buying, and look, I'm buying something very expensive. It looks expensive, and then in the end I just found out it's a counterfeit, because most NFT projects right now are doing this. So there's a hype behind. Yeah, exactly. And I was looking on our NFT ranking, and I was scrolling with collection and stuff for my reports, and I saw a lot of collection that are related to CryptoPunks, to Mutant Ape Yacht. And probably for someone that doesn't know, you're like, oh my god, that's Ape Yacht, probably it's gonna be like a blue chip collection, I can buy it. And yeah.
We did a whole thing on it, as I remember. We did a little section on it, Charlie. Remember, we pulled all those pictures, and there was like Bored Apes for like $2 and stuff like that.
Like if you think you're going to get a Bored Ape for $2, then you deserve to get scammed, I'm afraid. Like, welcome to the world.
There we go. That's what Charlie's.
All right.
Life lessons.
Do you not agree?
No, I agree, 100%, mate.
Yeah.
That's why.
All right, Sarah, we're going to let you have the last word as our special guest today, and then we're going to wrap it up there for today. So go on. Give us your last thought on the fashion world.
Oh, I don't know what to say. I think I said enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really think I talk like a lot. It's just, yeah, it's going to be interesting. This is all I can say, and I can't wait to see what next year will bring to us.
Yeah. Cool. Right, on that exciting and hopeful note, we will leave it there for today. We've run on. We could carry on talking for another hour, I think, but we've run on for longer than planned, as per usual. Remember, you can read more about all the things we've discussed here and much, much more by visiting DappRadar's blog, finding out what's going on in the world of Web3. I would recommend that you go and check out our latest BGA gaming report, which we touched on earlier in the show. And also, if you like chats and interviews with interesting people, go to our YouTube page and see all of the AMAs from Dapp Days last week. Right, so goodbye from me. We'll see you all next week. And yeah, thanks for coming, guys. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Cheers all.
Bye-bye.